Most 12-year-olds would have been focused on comic books or riding their bike or doing things that kids normally do, but not Kevin. Kevin was a very intelligent child, a very attentive child. He noticed things going on in the world around him, and he often asked questions that other kids didn't ask. Those questions would eventually lead him to wind up in federal prison. But to understand how he got there, I want to tell you about the type of questions that he asked. You see, when he was 12 years old, he was living in L.A. And of course, L.A., if you know anything about there, I've never been, but I understand it's very spread out. And one of the things he had to do all the time was he had to ride the local buses. Of course, he always had to get money from his parents, or he always had to have his bus fare. But Kevin was riding the bus one day, and he noticed that some people got on the bus, and instead of paying their fare, they had this little slip of paper. And when they had this little slip of paper, the bus driver would just say, "Okay, go on, sit down." And he thought, why don't they have to pay the money? He got to talking to some of those people, and he figured out that what they had was called a transfer slip. A transfer slip was where you basically paid the fare, you got on one bus, but somewhere along the route you had to change buses. So when you went to get off the first bus, even though you paid your fare there, you would tell the driver, "Hey, I'm going to the next bus to go here." The driver would pull out a transfer slip. He would pull out a special hole punch. He didn't have a round punch. It's more like, it's hard to see, but it was more like a fourth of a circle. He'd pull out this special punch, and he'd punch the ticket. And when the person got off that bus and on the next bus, he would show the bus driver, "Here's my ticket." And they'd go on to wherever they were going. And Kevin thought, I wonder if I could get one of those. I could just ride the bus for free. I wouldn't have to pay. And then I could take my bus money and I could just keep it. Well, most kids would probably, maybe even if they asked that question, they would leave it there, but not Kevin. Kevin one day decided to strike up a conversation with the bus driver. He sat all the way at the front, and he began to make small talk. And you know how kids are. Sometimes they just ask a ton of questions. Why, where, all these things. And he's making small talk, and he asked about these tickets. And the bus driver's talking to a 12-year-old kid, right? He doesn't, he's not trying to protect company secrets with a 12-year-old. And Kevin eventually asked about these punches. "Well, where do you get those?" "Oh, well, they sell them actually downtown at this store, XYZ store." And Kevin's like, "Okay," and he just goes on about his business, just acting dumb, like he didn't notice what the driver had said. Well, that night, Kevin goes home and says, "Hey, Mom, can I borrow $15? He called another bus, went to that store, and bought one of these punches. What? But still, that was only half the equation. He had the special punch now, but he didn't have the pieces of paper. Where's a 12-year-old boy going to get official LA bus transfer tickets at? He was rolling this question around in his mind, and he was in the bus station one day, and he was looking around, and he saw something. He saw a driver get off a bus, and he took something and he threw it in the trash can. Waited for him to leave, went over there and looked in the trash can, and guess what the driver had just thrown away? A bunch of used transfer tickets, but in the midst of that was a book of partial tickets that basically he was throwing away some of them and starting a new book. Guess what he had now? He had blank tickets, and he had the special punch. And Kevin didn't pay for the bus for a long time after that. You see, Kevin, if you look up Kevin Mitnick's name, you're probably going to see the term hacker associated with it. He was famous for hacking the telephone system and then hacking computer systems. He broke into governments and, just all kind of stuff. And that's what landed him in federal prison for 5 years. But see, here's the thing. Kevin wasn't doing this. Like, he wasn't breaking into the federal government servers to steal some information and sell it. He wasn't, breaking into the phone system to get free long distance calls, to be malicious. He never really did any damage with what he did. For him, it wasn't about, hey, I'm going to break in and I'm going to steal something and I'm going to sell it and use it for my own benefit. He was just simply in it for the thrill of, could he do it? And when the judge whacked the gavel, he didn't care about that. Why he did what he did didn't matter. He had broken into government systems. He had intercepted communications. He run from the police, right? They throwed the literal book at him. You see, I bring this story up because we can justify almost anything we want to do, can't we? That's a superpower that human beings have. Kevin, in his mind, I'm just having fun. I'm not hurting anybody. I'm not hurting anything. By the way, guess what he did when he got out of prison? He went back to hacking. Except this time he opened a security firm and people paid him to hack their systems to make sure that they were secure, right? He got to do the same thing, but people paid him to do it. What a brilliant idea. But we can justify anything we want to do. Today's sermon title is called How to Do Anything You Want to Do. And I want to look at a man in the scriptures, and we're going to look at how he justified not only theft, but literally setting up his own religion, complete with priests and everything, and just went about it, didn't care. I want to teach you how to do exactly everything that you ever want to do in life, and then if you want to do everything that you want to do like this guy did, then you can turn out like he turned out. This is kind of an anti-sermon. I'm going to teach you the opposite and hope that you learn what to do, right? If you got your Bibles, go with me to Judges 17. That's where we're going to spend all of our time today in this one little section in Judges. We're going to look at a man named Micah. Micah is not the prophet Micah. This Micah is later. This prophet is after the kings. But in Judges 17, verses 1 and 2, there was a man of the hill country of Ephraim whose name was Micah, and he said to his mother, the 1,100 pieces of silver that were taken from you, about which you uttered a curse, and also spoke it in my ears, behold, the silver is with me, I took it. So we start out here, and Micah is a thief. And he didn't just steal from anybody, he stole from his own mother. This is a grade A dude, right? We're starting out really good here. But Micah's going to do the right thing. He's going to bring the silver back. But why did he bring it back? You get the idea from reading this that when he heard his mother pronounce a curse, I'm assuming whoever stole that money, I hope they're, whatever it was, I don't know. But you notice here it says, and also spoke it in my ears. I wonder if she suspected him of the theft. I hope whoever stole that money just dies a horrible death. Conscience is a thing, isn't it? Obviously, he must have been afraid of his mother. You ever been afraid of mama? I remember those days. But I wonder, was he more afraid of his mother than he was God? Obviously, he wasn't afraid to steal those 1,100 pieces of silver. If you want to do anything that you want to do, one of the first steps is you need to be afraid of the wrong people. AKA, not be afraid of God and his judgment and what he says is right and wrong. If you don't want to go by God's standards, then it opens up a lot of things. You can go from that little bitty narrow way to a broad pathway of possibilities. All you got to do is just not fear God. It's really restrictive to fear God if you want to do anything that you want to do. So, fear the wrong people. But let's go a little further. I didn't read all of verse 2. We're going to continue in verse 2. And he said to his mother, the 1,100 pieces of silver that were taken from you, about which you uttered a curse, and also spoke it in my ears, behold, the silver is with me, I took it. And his mother said, blessed be my son by the Lord. And he restored the 1,100 pieces of silver to his mother. And his mother said, I dedicate the silver to the Lord from my hand for my son to make a carved image and a metal image. Now, therefore, I will restore it to you. Can I ask you a question? Why ain't she beating him with a stick? You done stole 1,100 pieces of silver from me. I hope you're blessed by the Lord. Not only that, I'm going to give the silver back to you. Not only that, why don't you take and go buy some idols and let's just set up a whole religion because you did such a wonderful thing, little Johnny. I bet he got a participation trophy sometime when he was a little kid. You see, if you want to do anything you want to do, a great way to do that is to get enabled by the wrong people. Now, I understand we all have to stand for ourselves in judgment. We'll all have to answer for what I did. But you would be foolish to think that the influence of other people does not affect you. 1 Corinthians 15:33, do not be deceived. Evil company corrupts good morals. You know one of the easiest ways for evil company to corrupt good morals to say, yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, why don't you do that? Yeah, man, let's do it. The Bible is full of examples. Proverbs is full of examples. You know, when they make plans to go towards evil, do not go along with their plans. Why? Because it's really easy to get sucked in with the crowd and say, you know what we should do? Let's go rob a bank. Yeah, that sounds like fun. And you look up and you're in jail and you're like, how'd I get here? Well, you made some bad decisions, but you also were what? Enabled by the wrong people. You can find a yes man anywhere. A lot of times business leaders have the hardest time finding someone that will tell them the truth. Because everyone around them is so scared of them because of their power and position. You need some people in your life that will tell you the truth even when you don't want to hear it. If you want to do anything you want to do, you take those people who love you enough to tell you the hard truths and you reject them, you shun them, you run them out of your lives. And you can do just anything that you want to do. Number next. If you want to do anything you want to do, hang out with some liars. Look here. So when he restored the money to his mother took 200 pieces of silver and gave it to the silversmith, who made it into a carved image and a metal image, and it was in the house of Micah. Did you catch that? If we back up, there was 1,100 pieces of silver, and I'm going to what? I'm going to dedicate it to making a carved image and a metal image. I'm going to take this 1,100 pieces of silver that you stole, and we're going to dedicate it to this idol. But then when it comes time to buy the idol, what happens? 200 pieces. Where'd the other 900 pieces go? Text doesn't tell us. Maybe Mama kept it. Maybe Mama handed it to Micah and told him to go spend the 1,100, and then Micah spent 200 and got him a bargain off the used idol shelf and kept the 900 in his pocket. We don't know, but it looks like the mama is the one that kept it. You know, it's really easy. It's really easy to lie to yourself when you hang around people who lie to themselves. When you watch people who justify anything they want to do, you begin to think, well, it's okay for me to do the same thing. This one kind of goes with the last one, but it's a little more precise. It's a little more telling. I'm going to dedicate all this money to the Lord, and then we're going to pay 200. You want to do anything you want to do, find some people who are liars and just hang out with them. But here's another one. And the man Micah had a shrine, And he made an ephod and household gods and ordained one of his sons who became his priest. He's taking the pattern that God gave and what? I'm going to make my own. But when his mother buys him an idol with the money that he stole, that's not enough, is it? He gathers more stuff. I tell you what, you want to do anything you want to do? Focus on gathering more and more and more. Let the things and the money become your God. What do you think in Matthew chapter 6 when Jesus is talking about, we literally talked about this last week, that you get down to the end of all those things and you can't serve God and mammon or God and money. One of them's going to be your God. What do you think his God was? It's going to be himself and his possessions. It's going to be setting up this whole entire system where I'm the center of my religion. I mean, that's what King Nebuchadnezzar did. It's what the Roman Caesars did. You know, when you raise to power, then you begin to think more highly of yourself than you ought to. And we'll just get more and more and more. Book of Ecclesiastes, Solomon is trying to cure this pain and this hole, this longing in his heart with more and more and more. And you know what? It didn't work. It didn't work for him, and it ain't going to work for us either. Never will. But yet that's the trap that so many people whisper, or Satan whispers into so many people's ears. Oh, you need some more stuff. You know, look at you and look at everything you got. You'd be really special if you had a little bit more. You can do anything you want to do. If you'll focus on more and more and not God, not love, not people, not souls. Just focus on things. You'll do anything you want to do. Number 6. In those days, there was no king in Israel, and everyone did what was right in his own eyes. You want to do what you want to do, make yourself your own standard. Why was Paul persecuting, killing, dragging Christians off to prison? Because he thought that was the right thing to do. Sometimes you look at people and you think, what are they thinking? Why do they do this? It's destroying their lives. Why do they do that? I'll tell you why they do that, because they think that's what they're supposed to be doing. There is a way unto man that seems right, but the end result thereof is death. You want to do anything you want to do, you make yourself the rule maker. Because you know what you're not going to do? You're not going to make a rule that challenges you. You'll make all kinds of rules for them. But when I'm the standard, I'm good. I'm not going to make a rule that attacks my shortcoming, that makes me uncomfortable, that somehow challenges me or brings me down. No, I'm going to make rules that build me up. I want to make rules that build me up. And it's a dangerous place to be. But now if you want to do whatever it is that you want to do, this is how you do it. You make yourself your own standard. Lastly, this one might be the worst one of all. Now there was a young man of Bethlehem in Judah, of the family of Judah, who was a Levite, meaning that he was one of the priestly tribe, okay? He's supposed to be a priest for God. Don't let that pass you by. And he sojourned there, and the man departed from the town of Bethlehem in Judah to sojourn where he could find a place. And as he journeyed, he came to the hill country of Ephraim, to the house of Micah. And Micah said to him, Where do you come from? And he said, I am a Levite of Bethlehem in Judah, and I'm going to sojourn where I may find a place. And Micah said to him, Hey, won't you stay with me and be to me a father and a priest, and I will give you 10 pieces of silver a year, a suit of clothes, and your living. And the Levite went in, and the Levite was content to dwell with the man, and the young man became to him like one of his sons. And Micah ordained the Levite, and the young man became his priest, and was in the house of Micah. Then Micah said, Now I know that the Lord will prosper me, because I have a Levite as a priest. I won the prize. I tell you what, you want to do anything you want to do, you take everyone around you that you can get your hands on and you manipulate them and you use them for all they're worth. Why did he say, I'll give you this money and I'll give you a job and you'll be like a father to me and I'll be like your son? Why is he building him up? Does he care about him? No. He cares about himself. Oh, I got all these stuffs and I got all these garments and I got all these shrines, and I got all these idols, and now I got one of God's priests working for me. God's going to have to bless me now. I got him backed up in the corner. Yeah, right. You want to do anything you want to do, you just, like I say, use everybody you can. Wring everything you can out of them. Smile to their face. Talk good to them to their face. And then talk about them some other way behind their back. I mean, just tear them down. Step on them. Decline to where you want to go. That'd be a great thing if you wanted to do whatever it is you want to do. It's what he did. Obviously, it worked for a while. I mean, the party works. The party is really happening in place until what? Until it ain't. That prodigal son, one of the two prodigal sons in Luke 15, while the money's flowing and the party's going on, everything's wonderful until what? Until it ain't. Because you know what? Eternity's coming. A day of judgment standing in front of our God and having to answer for what it is that we have done is coming. But now if you want to do whatever it is you want to do, please, by all means. You see, Micah right here looks like he's on top of the world. But you keep reading and you go a little further into Judges 18. And the problem with building yourself up in a worldly state is that there's always somebody stronger than you. There's always somebody more powerful than you. You're not going to live forever. Jesus said what? Lay up not for yourselves treasures on earth where moth and rust does corrupt and thieves break in and steal. Micah's about to learn this lesson. And they turned aside there and came to the house of the young Levite at the home of Micah and asked him about his welfare. Now the 600 men of Danites, armed with their weapons of war, stood by the entrance of the gate. And the 5 men who had gone out to scout out the land went up and entered and took the carved image, the ephod, the household gods, and the metal image, while the priest stood by the entrance of the gate with the 600 men armed with weapons of war. And when those went into Micah's house and took the carved image, the ephod, the household gods, and the metal image, said to them, "What are you doing?" And they said to him, "Keep quiet. Put your hand on your mouth and come with us and be to us a father and a priest." Seems like we've heard that before, right? It is better for you to be a priest to the house of one man or to be the priest to a tribe and a clan of Israel. And the priest's heart was glad because it's either you're going to die or you're going to come serve us. Yeah, I think that sounds like a promotion to me, right? And the priest's heart was glad. He took the ephod and the household gods and carved image and went along with the people. And you keep reading, and Micah's going to chase them down the road and be like, "What are y'all doing?" "Anything we want to. Because we got 600 men armed to the teeth, and you ain't got none." You see, if you want to do anything it is you want to do, you go right ahead. And you see how you wind up. Now, if you become a Christian, is everything going to be hunky-dory and roses? You might become a Christian and 600 armed men might still show up. But if those 600 men take your life and you've been faithful to God, it won't matter. If those 600 men show up and take your life, you can thank them for sending them home to be with your Heavenly Father who loves you and cares for you and wants to spend eternity with you. If you want to do anything it is you want to do, you can do it. I've given you the roadmap. The question is, which one do you want more? A lot of times the hardest question is, what do I want? Because that question gets drowned out by what do I want right now. Sometimes it's hard to look past the end of your nose and the end of the day So many things. Sometimes even something as simple as ordering something on Amazon. Sometimes I need to leave it in the cart today to figure out, do I really want that thing right now? Do I really want it, or do I just want the shot of dopamine from clicking the button and saying, your order's on the way? Right? Nobody starts out to go, hey, I'm going to run it completely off the rails, and I'm going to disobey God, and I'm going to set up my own religion, and I'm going to disobey God just as much as I can. But little by little, that's where it can wind up if we're not careful. This morning, I don't know what your need is. Maybe you need to become a Christian. Maybe you are a Christian, you're struggling. I don't know. I hope these things make you think, provoke your heart. If you need to come down front, if you need to go to the shepherd's room, if you need whatever you need. This morning we love you and we care about you. And you can come while Colin sings this invitation.